I hope y'all are having a blessed day. It's a beautiful day here on the mountain.
Hi, welcome to Conquering Mount Scrapmore with Brenda. I'm Brenda, and today I'm here with Melissa from 70 Acre Studio. We've been trying to get together for quite a while, and it's like life keeps happening to both of us. It's just one of those things, like miscommunication and, life and, like reschedule. Yeah, it's just been exhausting. So, Melissa, I have been watching your posy videos. Those are just adorable. I see them behind your head there.
Oh, yep, there they are. Yeah.
So, how many is there going to be?
I don't know yet. I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants as I get inspired. I make new blocks, and I just wanted to continue going with the series until people got tired of it or I couldn't think of another block. So I'm trying to mix in, you know, traditional blocks in with raw edge applique, and I'm trying to do different things.
Yeah, I sometimes that's probably the most fun is trying to think of something new, as you're playing around with these blocks, right? And remember too, if you're gonna do a quilt, you can repeat blocks, right?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
not an issue. I've got a block. I think I should run it as a block of the month. I haven't. I every time I think about it, I'm like, oh no, I don't. Yeah, I just kind of I sit there and I think it should be like a block of the month and a block of the week. And I'm like, yeah, a block of the week might blow people away. It might be too tough to do a block a week, but we'll see. We'll see what we can do. But yeah, we've got one coming up, and I've been promising it for a while, so I'm kind of like, but I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what the quilt alongs. Do you find your quilt alongs are doing well on your channel?
I don't know. I mean, this is not an official quilt along. I'm just making these series of blocks and sharing the patterns, and uh, I'm not. I didn't really engineer the whole project. I just kind of said, "Oh, I'm really enjoying these flower blocks, and I think I'll make it a series." And
Yep.
I'm trying to keep it simple enough for beginners so that they're not afraid. Like my latest block was raw edge applique, and I told them if you don't want to do any sewing on it, or if you don't have the machine to do a fancy stitch on it, it's raw edge applique, and if you're
Yep.
happy with it, that's perfect.
Yeah,
So
I was quite surprised how many people took up the nosegay quilt along so long as we were doing it. And
yeah, yeah.
that was a hand sewing project, hand sewing, machine sewing. So we kind of combined because people don't think you can combine them, right? So you break it down and you hand piece what you have to or what's too hard, and the other stuff you just sew together like a sewing machine. And this 4 at a time nosegay, it is lying absolutely flat in that center, in that little posy center right there.
Yeah,
No
it's an
hammering
amazing
was done. No
that is an amazing quilt,
Yeah,
and I
I
really
have to
enjoyed
finish.
the series.
Yeah, I have to finish the outside sawtooth stars around the edge and put like just another little 2.5 inch border and float my points then, right? So I don't have to worry about binding, cutting off the point. So and that's always a really good technique too, is floating your points, so
Yeah,
you don't have
yeah,
to, oh, I have to do this just so, and you're putting binding on a quilt. You can't see where your point is, so you can't meet your point.
yeah.
Right, like people forget that you can't see it. You're gonna hit it every time, so but so do you have any funny stories that happens in your sewing room or while you're filming or anything? Just like
Pinky.
you have, we're both YouTubers. We
Yep.
probably both have our share of funny stories, like,
My my big one is Mr. Dinky.
is that your
He
cat? Is that your little fur baby that's running around the back?
yeah, yeah, Mr. Dinky Doo. And when he's being fresh, he's Mr. Stinky Dinky Doo.
Oh yeah.
So yes, he likes to get into lots of trouble, and he'll walk in between my thread caddy and the sewing machine and take off with several strands of thread, and it'll be all over the house, and I'll be winding and winding for half hour or more trying to retrieve all that thread.
I know, yeah. Like Albert, our cat is not allowed in here. And we were shooting a pet bed episode, right? That's going to drop in March. I believe I think it's March. I can't remember now when it's going to drop. And it was for him, right? We'll try to get him to after you've been chasing him out of your sewing room for how
Yeah.
many years? Trying to get him to come in and stay on the pet bed. We had to soak the pet bed in cat litter, or not cat litter, but cat
Catnip.
nip spray. We just spray this thing down so that it was just like and put him on it. And he's like, okay, wow, this is really cool, but I'm not supposed to be in here. He was like terrified, right, of being in this sewing room. And it was like, oh no, oh no.
Now suddenly they want me in there. What's going on?
Yeah, like, well, you hear him every once in a while we're filming, meowing in the background. It's, it's that I haven't been fed in years.
Yeah.
You can
Yep.
see the bottom of his food dish, right? So he's like panics and he's
Yep.
starving to death. Yeah, they're fun, aren't they? They're a lot of fun and they're good company. And
Yes. Yeah.
it's kind of it's nice to have that little creature to look after, but yeah, he can be really annoying when you want to be.
Yeah.
So
He takes off with my projects and
yeah. Do you have any funny stories about equipment failures or equipment bloopers? I guess equipment bloopers that we should be filming, but we can't because it's equipment bloopers. Do you have any
yeah.
of those stories?
Yes and no. I mean, they're nothing humorous per se. It's just, you have nonstop issues. And I've got this expensive Bernina. I got this on a special deal. It was a consignment
Yes.
uh by woman had bought the machine and never got to use it. She passed away.
Oh no.
And yeah, so it was a consignment from with her husband, and it was a great deal, so I bought it. And these high-end computerized machines are such a hassle. When something goes wrong on them, they drive you crazy, and it's
Yeah.
expensive because you have to keep running back to the dealer.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the Singer 301s and the Singer featherweights are just absolutely, you can't kill those machines.
Well, I get my husband because I sew on my mom's every day, and I try and take her into the spa one, the sewing machine spa for her yearly checkup. But he tries and blows her out, once a month, and it's because I sew so much on it
Yeah.
that it kind of starts to sew rough, and it's like, oh yeah, you needs to be blown out.
Yeah, I'm
It's all the
constantly
fluff you
taking.
can't pull out while you're wiping every bobbin change. I wipe out my area
Yes.
and I
Yeah.
oil it all the time, so it just and
Yep.
it runs beautifully.
Yeah, I
He's
open
still
it up.
running after I'm long dead and gone. I mean, if
Oh
you
yeah.
take care of them,
You can't kill it. You can't kill it. I take mine apart probably once a month and get all the lint out of it, give it a good oiling, just check everything inside, make sure it's okay. I've actually taken the motor out and I've sanded off the carbon and on the commutator, and I've done basically broke the thing completely down
Oh
and then
wow.
built
Well,
it back up.
that's more daring with your sewing machine than I would be.
I wouldn't do it to the computerized machine. No, no, no.
No, but even on my mom's Singer 301A, I don't think I would be taking it apart and grinding off carbon bits. Like I
Well,
wouldn't
you're
be
not
able to.
grinding. You're using like extremely fine sandpaper, like
Yes.
1,000 grit, and you're just revitalizing the surface of the commutator
Yeah.
to get the carbon off. Because if you don't get the carbon off, eventually you'll lose connection between the power and the commutator.
Okay.
So you have to do these things to take care of them. But with a vintage machine, it is just so easy to do.
Yeah. Well, like I say, and when I go take these, I have a couple of 301As. When I take them into the shop, those guys, it's like kind of working on antique cars for them. They're like,
Yes.
ooh, like
Yeah.
they're all excited, and it's like, don't drop her. You start to panic right away. Don't drop her. Don't drop her.
Yeah. My husband bought me. He tried to surprise me. he went on eBay and he bid on a 301, and without realizing it, he actually won. And then he goes back to New York because he still works full time in New York. And the machine arrives, and I tell him, this machine is not what the description said. It is in very bad shape. It looks like it's been dropped,
Oh
and
no.
I couldn't get it to sew. So I still have it, and we play on it occasionally to try and get it to sew. But the one that I got, the black 301, that machine is a cream puff. I love it. I
Oh
adore
yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, they like they're as long as they're well maintained and oiled frequently, and yeah, there's very little can go wrong. Very
Yeah,
little.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a Husqvarna, a computerized Husqvarna, and after 2 years, its motherboard died.
Oh,
And I was only sewing on it once, like for 5 months out of the year because we were going to Tucson, and that's
mhm.
where that machine was. And I was just so not happy with that. But, like after 2 years and it's only used part time and the motherboard blows, that's a very, very expensive repair. That's a $900 repair.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
probably more now, but I mean,
yep,
that's at the time, that's what it was going to cost. And I was like, oh Lord,
yep. The
I
machines are
can't afford now.
expensive.
Yeah.
So do you go to Tucson every year?
Well, we haven't during the pandemic,
Mhm.
and I have grandchildren. I have three little ones. So with grandkids, the rule is you're only cool for a short period of time,
Mm,
and then it's like, Grandma, please don't embarrass me.
yep,
So you're not cool anymore. And then if you're lucky, they turn around and go, oh, Grandma's cool again, right? So, we're at that grandma and grandpa are cool stage because they're small, and we're kind of, well, yeah, so we kind of, we're waiting for the, oh, Grandma, Grandpa, please don't embarrass us.
my grandson will be 23 in July. He's
Oh
a
wow.
he's a registered nurse.
So are you're back at the cool stage where he thinks
Yeah,
you're cool? Yeah.
I guess. I mean, we enjoy talking with each other and spending time together, and he tries to come here as often as he can.
Yeah, then you're at the cool stage. It's all good.
Yeah.
You're cool in their eyes again. That's so neat. And it's so neat when you are that, they're happy to come see you and visit. I mean, when I was in my 20s, I would go visit my grandmothers, like and spend time with them, because it was just like I had to take my vacation, and my vacation was, I'm going to go spend time at grandma's house as an
Yeah.
adult, and we'd go shopping, we'd go to the baseball games, we, all over the place, right? And we just had a blast together, her and I, so my other grandma had passed away earlier, but I mean, yeah, she was cool too. Like she was pretty. It was interesting listening to her play on her concertina. Her little
Oh, wow, yeah.
those they're kind of like in a miniature accordion with buttons. Yeah,
Mhm.
they're so cool. Yeah, very cool. So yeah. So how long, Melissa? How long have you been quilting?
Since the 70s.
Oh wow, you
Yep.
were quilting when quilting wasn't cool.
Yes, and the first one I did was a grandmother's flower garden
Oh
where you
wow.
well, I don't think it was necessarily paper pieced. I don't remember paper, but I do remember sewing all the little hexagons together.
Oh, so you sewed them by hand instead of by English paper piecing?
Yeah, I think we did. My mother was making one also, and we just cut out the hexagons and sewed them together.
Yeah, that's quite the task, actually. That's very much the task.
That's my problem when I start going down a craft rabbit hole. I dive in head first. The first time I knit something, it was a fisherman knit sweater that had 14 different patterns in it. So yeah, I just kind of dive in.
Yeah, I used to knit too. I enjoyed it. I found it very therapeutic for knitting. Crocheting, not so much, because I can knit faster than I crochet. I don't know if many people, everybody else I know says no, crocheting is faster, and I go, not the way I crochet. It's not. So I can
I
knit
have
faster.
I'm a clumsy knitter and I'm a slow knitter. I'm, you
Oh,
know, I'm good. I don't have tension issues or anything, or that's not, that's, but I'm just very clumsy with the needles and I can't do the speed quilting. I had a friend who could whip out a pair of socks in like 20 minutes. It was amazing to watch her. Her hands, you couldn't even see them moving. It was just a blur.
well, I remember I used to love the more like all the different strings on a sweater or something because you're working with all these different colors.
The fisherman, not the fisherman,
And Tarja knitting where you would have all
yes.
these different colors coming together, and my husband look at that mess, that knot mess, and he was like, "Oh Lord, it's going to be bad."
Yeah.
And he didn't realize I could go this way and then this way without
Yeah.
turning my work because you create knots by turning your work, right? That
Yeah.
it turns on itself. And he was just like, everybody else I know just they start cursing when they have too many long strings, and it's like you just like, and then I don't think he got that I was able to go this way and then not turn and then go this way and not turn and then just keep it. Can you wear out the bottom of your knitting too when you're doing that, right? Because you're
Yes.
flipping it around so often,
Yeah.
and it starts to show wear, and it's just like, oh no.
Yeah.
The
If
kids
I'm
have some
doing,
pretty colorful sweaters going to school, so
yeah, if I'm doing just stocking knit, I will knit across and rather than turning it and purling back, I just knit backwards.
yeah. That's what I
So
would
long
do,
as
yeah.
and I have a very hard time with backwards and upside down. So I get very flustered with paper piecing.
Oh,
I just can't wrap my head around working in reverse. And I always end up with a patch not being big enough once I'm done sewing it on and flipping it. But with the knitting, I can more easily visualize uh, what a pearl stitch being made looks like from
yes,
the front. So
right.
I have no trouble just knitting back.
Yeah, so that yeah, it makes it a little easier. Yeah. I know a lot of people complain about foundation paper piecing because they can't do the backwards and upside down. They just like it has a hard time wrapping their head around it.
Yes.
And I was always told it was like the Ginger Rogers of the quilting world, right? She had to dance just as well as Fred Astaire, but she had to do it backwards and in high heels. So
Yep.
it was like, yeah, it's kind of that really, and it's not hard once you figure out what you need to do, it's not hard. Even I
Yeah.
make mistakes, but I do find FPP like very, very relaxing to do because all I have to do is sew on the line, right?
Yeah.
And it's like why are people having problems with just sew on the line,
Yeah.
Yeah, you know what two-step is coming, it's like but I also like English paper piecing where you do it by hand. Are you a hand sewer at all or no?
I used to be. I've won awards for my hand quilting, and um, Mr. Dinky is being very fresh. I'll be inserting my Jaws clip right about now. um, yes. I don't. I used to do handwork, but I don't do it anymore. My hands don't like it. They get a little arthritic. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I know. A therapist, like occupational therapist, said I was too young to lose use of my hands.
yeah.
Need a new mouth too today, apparently. So like for me, because I have that fibromyalgia arthritis combination, to heat my hands and then do as much hand sewing as I can, like just with those things you throw in a microwave and you stuff your hand in and have the heat from
Yeah,
the
the
just to
rice
loosen
bags
up,
and stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
just to loosen up everything, and then sew is like for every day, like the first week you start 5 minutes and they
Yeah.
heat your hands and you just let them heat until they cool off, right?
Mhm.
And the next week you'd go to 6 minutes, 7 minutes, 8 minutes per week, and like every day and do that heat, and eventually your hands will work. Your hands start working again, right? Which is
Yeah.
what was like, but if it's arthritis, it's arthritis, right? But apparently, is to get that. whatever, the lubricant back in your joints,
Yes. Yeah.
to keep them moving, right? That
Hmm.
type of thing. But it did work. It worked for me. I was really impressed at how well that worked. So that's something that, everybody there could take on. So yeah, what have you got planned for your future for your channel right now?
Right now, I'm just whatever I'm inspired to do, I do. Still doing the flower block, the posies, and I do have plans. I have a whole list of quilts that I want to make. So I'm trying to my videos tend to be a touch longer than some because I like to give a lot of instructions and repeat the instructions
Yeah.
and just keep assuring people that it's okay if you're a beginner, you can do this.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Well,
but
that's why I leave in my mistakes.
oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm not infallible. I make mistakes and I
Yeah,
let
me
it
too.
go.
Yeah.
And I leave them in, and people need to know how to fix them.
Exactly.
Because if you don't show them the mistakes and how to fix them, they don't get it.
Yeah.
You
And
know?
they think that they can't do what you're doing because you're obviously so elevated and so much better than.
No, 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 no. Yeah, we all
Yeah.
make mistakes. We
Yeah.
all do.
I make a lot of them.
Yeah,
Sometimes on camera.
I have quite a few dead stitch rippers where they're so dull now from me taking them and just I did it again. And the other thing I find too, I love sewing with this machine, but I like it on a real tiny stitch,
Hmm.
right? Because it's more secure. Well, when you have to take it
Take
apart.
that. Yes. Yes. On some of the posies that I did that are paper pieced, I had the stitch size so small, I couldn't get it out. Could not. I just had to toss it and start over because I could not get those stitches out.
Yeah. When I first learned how to poverty or to do paper piecing, one of the things my grandmothers and my mom told me, don't be afraid if the piece is too small because you can always poverty piece it, right?
Yeah.
Like you
Yeah.
just add the same color fabric
I've
and
done that.
make it bigger,
Yep.
so that you're using all of your stuff. And it's okay to poverty piece, right?
Yep.
'Cause there's no shame in it. You're using up everything. And it was just like, and somebody, when I made a comment about poverty piecing, people were like, what? I've never heard that before. Well, they
I
used
I
to use
never
that a
I never
lot.
called it that, but I have done, let's fix this and we sew the same fabric on and make
Yeah.
it a wee bit bigger and nobody knows.
Yeah. And it's just, and it was, if you look at old quilts, like the antique quilts, a lot of
Oh yeah.
times they were working with such small little bits.
Mhm.
They were masters at poverty piecing, and you can't tell until you run your finger over where all those seams are, because
Yes.
they've mushed together quite a few just to make that one little bar. It's just
Mhm.
kind of a interesting take on what we're doing today. So, but I do like the idea of the crumbs coming back into fashion.
Yeah.
The string quilt, I mean, that is such a great idea. It keeps it all out of our landfill and saves our planet, like might as well
Yeah.
sleep under it, sleep under you're sleeping under what other people would call garbage.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty good. So, what was your most fun or most memorable quilt you made? What was the one that just pulls at your heart? Or what story do you have on your most memorable or beloved quilt? Like what's your personal story?
Hmm. The most recent project that I did was the Easter piece, the
Yeah.
egg,
Yes. Oh,
and
show us your egg. Show us your egg. Just hold
oh,
it up
okay.
in front of everybody.
Mm, let's see.
That's beautiful with the landscaping that you've done. That's just gorgeous. And all the little stitching.
Yeah, the church was freehand embroidered.
Yeah, just gorgeous.
So I don't, other than that, I've done more quilts like that. Yeah, I've done more artistic quilts. I enjoy that, and I enjoy doing something unique. I don't buy kits because
And
I don't want to make the same thing everyone else is making.
yeah, I'm not a, I will buy a kit if I love every piece of fabric in the kit, but I take it home, I disperse it out to my stash, and then I pull other fabrics into the kit to make the kit when I decide to make the kit, because I'm not
Okay.
using those fabrics either. Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree with you there. And things tend to look it because everything's so matchy matchy, it looks kind of flat. It doesn't
Yeah,
have
I
the
like
same
to.
interest, you know.
Yeah,
I guess I don't know. Maybe I'm not explaining it right, but you know what I'm saying? It's like it's not as interesting as a
exactly.
piece that's all curated from your stash. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
all just kind of, it's too, I don't know, I think it's like too coordinated. And I think it loses some of its brilliance if you can't toss in, a few wild cards. So,
Yeah.
and yeah, to me, a wild card is something like this.
I love that fabric, by the way. But yes, it's definitely
Yes.
a wild card. Yeah. My
So,
my favorite quilt, and I had to laugh when I gave it to her because there's a part of you that always sits there and thinks, well, these women all quilted when they were younger, did their
hmm
own quilts, and they probably did, much better quilts than I could ever make, and you kind of feel like you kind of embarrassed to give your quilts to an aunt, right? Because they used to quilt, right? And I gave a quilt away to my aunt, and she was already in her hundreds, early
oh,
hundreds,
wow.
and she was so impressed because in that quilt I try to put a lot of farming motifs, like the chicken print
hmm I love
and the
chicken
cow
prints.
prints and the
Yep.
fun little, and it was a pineapple quilt, which was her favorite kind of quilt, but it was all these fun little bunnies and all this stuff that you would see on a farm,
hmm
right? And I guess everybody where she lives in that nursing home, everybody saw it twice.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, she likes that kind of thing. Oh, well, gee, why didn't she say something earlier?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, and I gave some quilts away to my uncles that are in Medicine Hat, and they were, they were quite surprised at what like, I guess they were kind of surprised that that's what I do now. I guess I don't know. Maybe they didn't know. I don't know. It's kind of like, you made this? You made this for me? They're kind of like, yeah. So it was interesting to see their reactions, because I mean, they probably haven't had the opportunity to sleep under a quilt for many, many years,
Yeah. Yeah.
many decades, actually, some of them. Yeah. So, what was your favorite? What's your favorite block? What's your favorite
Hmm.
quilt block?
I don't know if I have a favorite, but I do enjoy curves. I do
Oh,
I do like curves, and I like more freeform curves than perfect circles.
yes, yes, you like that modern, what is it, a curved rail? That is so beautiful. The one that you had done.
Oh, that yes, yeah, that one was solid fabrics and Hafe facet fabrics.
Yes.
And that one I had a lot of fun with, and that's one of my more popular videos. Um, so I like doing that kind of stuff because it's free form. You're not going to see it, the same quilt somewhere else.
Yeah.
And like I said, I enjoy doing those types of blocks, and the flower blocks are fun. But I don't have a go to. Well, yeah, I do. Potato chip. I love them potato chip blocks, Brenda.
Yeah, I know. We're going to start an orphan block challenge. And when I dropped it there's a big group of people that have been quilting with them for quite a while, and we're now, over the pandemic, we've been communicating by Zoom. So it was my turn to drop the challenge, and it was, take all of your orphan blocks and make as many charity quilts as you can.
Okay.
So I'm showing people how to put their orphan blocks together, because inevitably, when you have like I make my twin size quilts, right? Because I make
Mhm.
nothing but charity quilts now, or ones for the grandkids like this one. It's 30, there's 35 blocks, 5 across, 7 down, there you go, 35. I always make 36.
Yep.
I don't know how to count, or I make 38.
Yeah.
Like, what
I
was
don't.
I thinking? But anyways, so it's kind of like you always have an orphan block or one that you put the colors together and it's okay, but
Yes.
not,
Yep.
it does it when you put it in the mix, it stands out like a sore thumb. But if you pull it out and put something else in, it looks great.
Yeah.
So those, not that they're bad blocks or blocks where I've lost a lot of points, or they just don't look right in the quilt you're throwing them into,
Hold on one
right?
second. Hold on
Oh,
1 second.
okay.
I'm recording. Goodbye. Okay.
Life
That
is
was,
now interfering with us. Yes.
that was life.
It's life. Yeah, I know. It's kind of one of those things. But yeah, I'm kind of like, yeah, so I have a mountain of orphan blocks too, because I've been doing this for a while. But
Hmm.
and any block basically that you make that sits in your sewing room at nothing is happening with is an orphan.
Yeah. Yes, it is. I have lots of them.
So
I
so
think
it's
they
always
breed
interesting.
when you turn the lights off.
I know. And then of course we have to do leader and enders,
Mm.
which creates more orphan blocks.
I tried I tried doing that. Like, I think I was watching Laurie Holt or something, and she was sewing, one project, but she was, using another project with the leader ender thing. And I found that so confusing, because I would get hung up. I was trying to make crumb blocks. I would get hung up on, oh, let's find a good piece for that crumb, to sew another piece on. And I would get so wrapped up in that, the other project kind of fall by the wayside, and I just do nothing but the crumbs.
Well, I mind my crumb boxes or my crumb bins are all like this kind of
Hmm.
bin where they're, hand sized, so I've been minding them for English paper piecing hexies. So I've got two sizes. Oh, look at that fur baby. I got two sizes of hexies. So I've been pulling those littler pieces out, and the ones that are too small, I've been sewing them together and making crumb blocks. So yeah.
Now, in most of your recent videos, I've noticed that your leaders and enders are all either like one video would be all reds, another one would
Yep.
be all blues. So are you planning like a rainbow crumb quilt, or
Well, the crumb blocks are definitely going into the orphan block challenge. Yeah.
so are you going to do like rainbow effect?
Well, once they're a block, you can pretty much do whatever you want with them, right? So, they take on a life of their own too, right? And the other thing what I found too is once I made those crumb blocks is to make sure they come out of the crumb bins and get used, right?
Yes.
Oh, they're not big enough. You have to do a little bit more to them. Okay, fine. Well, that's life. It happens,
Yep.
so I mean, you just kind of you have to keep working at them to get them down. But I was really quite surprised when I went through and just harvested hexie pieces,
Mm-hmm.
and the pulling out the crumbs, how much stuff I really had in there. That was
Yeah.
like scary. It breathes.
Yes, I have baskets piled all over the place. And unfortunately, they're not organized. I have strips in the square basket. I've got squares in other odd shapes, and it's not organized. I
Well,
need to
what's
fix
happening
that.
in my studio is I have to do an orphan block challenge because I'm storing all these orphan blocks.
Yeah.
I can't cut anything else to make other blocks because the blocks are now taking up room. So I have to get
Yes.
the blocks out so I can start cutting stuff and making other things to move it all out, right? And it's just like, yes, beating them back. Yeah, beating them back with a big stick. A big
Yep.
stick and a rotary cutter. Here you go, guys. Well, anyways, today was so much fun talking with you, Melissa.
I had a great time.
Yeah, it's been I'm so sorry that it's taken us so long to get together and chat. It's just
Yeah.
life happens, right? I mean, it's life. That's what's going to happen to us every day. But anyways, to our viewers, I hope you guys have a fabulous week ahead and take care until we see each other again. Okay, bye.
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 My husband and I would love to thank you for coming along with us on our quilting journey and the YouTube adventure that we're on. We have some wonderful plans for 2023, and it includes a lot more, like with the Facebook group and the rooms feature and sewing and hanging out with people. Those monthly Zoom sew dates are still in the works. We have a lot of fun ideas coming up for 2023, and we hope you share, like, and subscribe with your friends. That little notification button and subscribing to us really helps us out. Commenting helps us out too. So if you like what you're seeing, let us know. Even send us a heart on the comment. That helps so much for us. Okay, you have an absolutely fabulous 2023, and all of our best wishes for you in the future. Okay, take care. Bye.